Tyler, founder of Quantum Winner. I want to welcome you guys back to week 2 of Dev Minutes. Hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving and you get to spend time with some family. I know I did, it was awesome. But we got a lot of work done on Precursor, which is very exciting. We tackled the game mechanics section of it, and that brings us to our first segment of the video is, what did I work on last week? Well, we worked on game mechanics. We defined everything, all the mechanics, all the nitty-gritty systems of Precursor. So loot drops, weapons, enemies, rarity, the stats that weapons have, those sorts of things. I created a formula this week where you will get loot that's always better. It might not be like better by a lot, but it would be better. So we won't run into things where the loot drops become stagnant. And that, I felt that was really important. That's what took the most amount of time. In Precursor, you will have, each weapon will be unique. If I play the game and you play the game, we'll never have the same weapons, right? And that's what's really exciting. Each stat of the weapon will be randomly rolled. There will be named weapons, right? That way, like that doesn't make it so hard for me to make a model for every weapon. So visually, the weapons might look the same, but statistically speaking, they will be different. So like, if I have a rifle and and its archetype is a scout rifle, right? There will be a range that scout rifles have, like the range, the damage, the clip size, the reload speed, these types of things. There'll be a range. Let's say it's like 10 to 15 for a trait. Well, you'll get a random roll between that. You'll also have random rolls for elemental damage, and depending on the rarity of the weapon determines how many perks the weapon gets. And these perks could be anything from you land a headshot, you get a round back in the magazine, to there's a fight, you kill an enemy with a headshot and a Hydra spawns for a few seconds to help you battle the enemies. These are the types of perks that we want, and I want to create something to where you can have a god roll that just breaks the game, but that's part of the fun. I think that's going to make the game a lot just really fun to play. You will be able to upgrade weapons, so there, like that's. And we can talk about those mechanics if you guys have questions later. But all these things we sort of have a baseline for. So definitely lots of playtest testing will be needed, and we'll be getting into that once the blockout phase kicks in. And that goes back to my game design philosophy. So those are the mechanics, and that's what we worked on. If you guys have any questions on that, we'll leave them in the comments below, and we can go more in depth and detail about that. But I think I gave a pretty good overview. My game design philosophy. I want to take bits and pieces from games that I love, and even the industry, the games industry itself, and take bits and pieces from that and put it into Quantum Winner's games. Right? There's bits and pieces, there's certain moments that kind of stick out to me that I remember that I really, really love, right? For example, King's Fall raid in Destiny 1. That was amazing, and there's definitely elements that are from that experience that we'll have in Precursor. And I mean, everything from like Easter eggs to the loot drops in Diablo. It's making sure it's taking those puzzle pieces, putting them in the Precursor puzzle in such a way that they're new and unique, and they go together and they're a lot of fun. If I was going to sum up Precursor, if you wanted to get a feel for what Precursor is going to be, it's going to be a mix of like Destiny, Halo, Diablo, and Mass Effect. And I'm really excited about this. This week, working on the game mechanics, I started to get a vision for what this game could be, and I just got really excited, and I really can't wait to share more of that with you. I also don't feel that a game has to be VR specific or has to be mouse and keyboard specific. Precursor is going to be a game that can play both, and it's going to be the same mouse and keyboard or VR. We've already developed some of that technology already, being able to detect if you have a VR system running and then spawning you as a VR player controller, or if you don't, spawning you as a first-person camera controller, character controller, excuse me. No, those are the types of things that we've already nailed down, and that's really exciting. The first-person character controller needs a lot of work because the majority of the work so far has gone into the third-person character controller, or no, excuse me, the VR character controller, just because the logic for two-handed weapons, it was a pain. But we got it, and it's working mostly. We still do a lot of work, but it's, again, this is part of the fun. But yeah, that's my game design philosophy. This next week, I gotta work on the story doc. There's some dialogue that needs to be put in. Next week, we'll probably share some of the characters of Precursor, and maybe we'll get some footage of someone playing Precursor as it stands right now. It's very beta, and so I'll just say that, but maybe we show that. So I guess that leads us to the last segment of today's episode, which is community questions. We had a question last week asking if we would go to Kickstarter. I think we'll go to Kickstarter maybe towards the end of this. I don't want to go to Kickstarter without anything to show. I don't want to say, hey, I have this idea, please give me money. I want to go to Kickstarter and say, hey, here's my idea, here's what I've done so far, your money could take it to the next level. And that's where I'll go if I go to Kickstarter. For me, making Precursor is not about the money, it's about telling a story. It's about, I want you guys to experience something. I want you to play the game and go to work the next day and tell your coworkers, like, dude, Quantum Winter, or play Precursor was amazing, or go to work the next day and go, dude, I played Precursor, it's horrible. Like, that's what I want. I want to impact somebody and have in the experience of Precursor. So if you guys like, again, if you guys like what you heard, hit the like button, subscribe. Have a question, leave it down in the comments. And until next week, I'll see you Starside.